I will take a new strut and compress it a few times. There are some struts that are out there that if you don't do this, first few bumps you go over will be boom, 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 and bang around because it hasn't been primed. So give this a shot whenever you do this. Just a few times ought to do it until there's equal resistance in both directions, because that's what it does. These dampers, in effect, they take the bouncy spring motion and dampen that force to slow it down, both going up and down. And it does this by utilizing a small disc inside a disc within the strut itself. This whole chamber is filled with oil, and that disc has a bunch of tiny holes in it, and it restricts the flow of the oil that's inside here as it passes through those small passages. And that's what makes it move or dampen the force, is it's basically fluid passing through a small passage that does that. Next we'll get our bomb. I want you to see this. Right here is where the spring sits, and that's where you're going to put the lower part of the spring back on. This will give you a better view from up top of what I'm doing. Once again, loaded bomb. You want to make sure that that sets right down in the crease of that rubber that was there before. Because the bearings on this are out and are pretty much junk, I am going to be replacing them. These are the bearings here. So your wheel, or your front wheels, turn on this, and it's pretty gritty and yucky. You need all these parts. But this one obviously is the first one and has a groove for the spring. Sits in there. I don't see where these are marked. These new ones are marked left and right, but that may be the case. And same with the struts, they may be marked left and right. I'm not seeing that here. Also, on some struts you might notice that there's a slot on the inside there and a slot on the strut that is supposed to fit together. If you don't get those two things together, the strut will not work properly. Looks like I have to get a screwdriver to pry it out. Okay, that worked. I just pried out on this top, and the top part of the bearing came off. So I was just able to pull it out of the bottom. Inside here there's a rubber bumper. That's important, because if the strut ever bottoms out, like you hit a really deep pothole or something, that rubber bumper is going to help protect everything up there. This looks like a job for lubricants. When I'm trying to put rubber stuff together, use silicone spray. Everything goes together better with lubricants. Take the new bearing assembly and put it in. I don't know if this is gonna... Yeah, it is. Push down in and be held together. I see a slot in this rubber. I see a slot in the top of this. I'm going to take those two, do my best to put them together. The idea here is you want to try to realign everything the same way it was, or to the best of your ability. They were sneaky. They took a bolt, stuck it down on the spring side. Guess they were trying to mess me up. Now this one does not have a shoulder or anything up here. So looks like this is how it fits together. They give you new bolts new fasteners when you do this. It's that plastic stuff on the inside. It's supposed to lock it in. The new bolts, or new nut, has things on it to help lock it on the top of this. You don't want this to come apart. Run it down. Alright. Now. It's on there a little bit, but not all the way. But I don't want to use the vice grip trick here, because if I do, I run the risk of hurting the shaft and rupturing the seal inside the strut and just creating a leak. So what I'll do is I'll put just a little bit of tension on the spring, loosen it a little bit. And hopefully what that's going to do is that's going to put enough tension here to let me tighten it all the way down. When I took this out, there were 2 nuts in the back, and then I had a bolt here. Top of this strut has 2 studs and a hole. So this helps align it. See how this is curved in here? How there's a bigger gap here than there is here? This thing has to sit inside the car in just the right way so that everything hooks up. So knowing that the stud or the bolt goes in the outer, that's what we want to do. So I'm going to fish it up through there. Nut. Nut. These, I think, are just designed this way so that they don't come loose. That's pretty much it. Now that I have the lower fasteners on there and the upper fasteners on there, you're done. I'm gonna put the wheels back on, let the car down, take it for a test drive, make sure the noise is gone. But pretty straightforward. The main things to watch out for, or particularly when you're using the spring compressors, they can be dangerous. You have to make sure that you're using them properly. Also, there's other types out there that actually lock onto the spring, because what you're worried about is as you put tension on the spring, if it slides from one direction to the other and allows the spring to open up at least on one side. But the bigger around the spring is, the less apt you are to have a problem. Or the easier they will be to compress. It's the smaller ones, like say on Hondas, those things they have to compress the heck out of. Those are fun. Any questions or comments, you can always visit me at EricTheCarGuy.com. And I hope this video was helpful to you, and have a great day. Be safe and stay dirty.